Hey, what's up you guys? It's Zach with PCBros, and today we have got another budget build guide. We're going to be exploring the realm of the Intel Arc GPUs and how much better they have gotten over this past year. When this is all done, you're gonna have a very capable budget gaming PC here in 2025. So let me break down all the specs and show you what it's all about.
Starting off the spec list, we have the Ryzen 7 5700X with 8 cores and 16 threads. This CPU right now is about $180 and is a great budget option to pair with the GPU that we have coming up. And for the GPU, we're going with something a little bit different here with the ASRock Challenger Intel Arc B570. This has 10 gigabytes of GDDR6 VRAM. Intel GPUs have come a long way, and although they're not perfect, I still think they're a viable budget option, especially right now when the GPU market is very tight. And for the motherboard, we are going with the Gigabyte B550M. Now this is a pretty budget motherboard, but it should still get everything we need done, although it does not have any ARGB headers. I'm going to show you what we're going to need later for all the fans that we have, but this is coming in at around like $95 and will do everything we need to. And for the storage, of course, we need a terabyte Gen 4 NVMe SSD. This is honestly like the minimum I would recommend at this point if you're serious about playing those AAA titles. I would at least go with a terabyte nowadays, but this is something easily upgradable too, and you can even double this up or upgrade this to 2 right away if you want to copy this build, and just go for that too because you know you're going to need it down the line. And for the RAM, we are going with this 32 gig kit from Corsair. This is the Corsair Vengeance LPX, so 2 sticks of 16, and it's 3200 megahertz. 32 gigs for this system is going to be very nice and really show in some of that performance in the benchmarks later. And to power this whole build, we have the ASRock Challenger CL650B. 650 watts is right where we want to be at probably for this build. I wouldn't go much less. This is 80 plus bronze. It is a pretty budget power supply, but it should be just fine for this build. And it is not modular, so keep that in mind for cable managing. And to cool the CPU, we got the Johnsbow CR1400 ARGB 92mm tower cooler. This is a slightly smaller tower cooler, but is perfect for this case, and the ARGB looks really nice. And coming in at about like $30, it's hard to beat. And we decided to add some extra fans in this build because we needed that extra airflow, and we're going with something a little bit fancier here, the Johnsbow ZA360B and the BR, so the reverse blade ones. These are gonna look really cool, and I can't wait to show you at the end of the build. And the case for this build, we are going with the Zalman P10 Micro ATX case, a simple yet good looking case. For on a budget, this case comes around $55 and will be a killer for this build. Now, something to keep in mind, like I was mentioning before with the motherboard, there is not an ARGB header on the motherboard. So what you're going to need to do is get a ARGB hub like the one I have right here. This also has the fan headers in it too, so you're going to be connecting both of those in the back, but you're going to need this if you want your fans to work properly. And the Zalman P10 has a USB-C port, but unfortunately the USB to USB-C extension that you put on the motherboard was not going to fit with the fans here on the floor, and that's the only header for it. So unfortunately, USB-C is not going to work on this case. I'm sure there's going to be some ways to get around that, and we might look into it for the future. But for now, for this video, we're just not going to have USB-C. But keep that in mind again when doing this combo. It's mostly the motherboard being extra budget. All right, now that we went over all the specs, let's get right into this build and see how this looks. Now for the benchmark section, starting off with Black Myth Wukong. Now this game was doing a little weird bug with MSI Afterburner, so I had to turn that off. So unfortunately, we're only going to have the FPS counter from the game here on the top left. And it was doing this weird green glitchy like artifact thing in the background too with MSI Afterburner. But other than that, the performance was pretty good for the price. We are in 1080p medium settings here, getting right at the 100 FPS to a little bit higher, and overall it's smooth, not much choppiness. But with Intel Arc cards, the drivers do have some glitches in some games, so keep that in mind. Some things like the Intel upscaling might be buggy. This benchmark did not have that. Throughout the whole benchmark, it is overall smooth, despite some of the weird Intel GPU issues that aren't really prevalent for most people, because some of them involved MSI Afterburner, which I'm sure you're probably not going to be using if you're just playing the game normally. We also tested Black Myth Wukong in 1080p high settings. This is still a very playable experience. We've dipped more into the 80s right now, but to crank it up in about high, this is still very playable, and especially because this isn't a first-person shooter or anything, this game is really for looks and a fun single-player game. We can still have an enjoyable experience with not many dips. Now for the next game, we have tested Black Ops 6 on basic 1080p. Black Ops 6 is pretty demanding, and this is a game that didn't have any weird Intel glitches. We are pretty much maxing out the GPU at this point, and we are getting over the 100 FPS range, but it's fluctuating. It's going up, it's going down. So of course we tested it too in balance settings, and really the performance is not much different. There could be probably some more tweaking, and that 32 gigs of RAM is really helping us out here, because if we only had 16, look, we're already using 14 of that, so the performance would be a lot worse. So we really needed that 32 to help and give us that extra push that we needed for games like this. But let's go ahead and move on to the final game, and this one we have only tested in one setting. This next game is Cyberpunk 2077 on high settings in 1080p. This is where we have a little weird issue with the Intel upscaling. On the settings, I used the Intel upscaling to try to get the frames a little bit higher, but it was doing this weird artifacting thing that I can show you right here. When you turn it off, we're still getting right around 100 frames and with no issues. At the end of the day, the Intel Arc GPU is pretty solid, but there's going to be some weird tweaks and weird bugs that you might run into on certain games, especially AAA games, and I would probably just avoid the Intel upscaling on some of the games like this. In conclusion, this combo is still a very valid budget option, despite some of the Intel GPU's bugs that I was able to work around and still get good performance. I really think if you're looking for a budget GPU right now, especially seeing that the market is pretty cleaned out and hard to get stuff, the Intel Arc GPUs like this B570 is going to provide solid performance even in super demanding AAA games like I tested. Thank you all so much for watching, and let me know in the comments down below what build combo I should do next.